Hello. Well, hello. Welcome to another episode of Making Shit with Live, powered by BNI. I really should make this more of like Megan and Emily live. But in this episode, we're going to talk about specific strategies of how you can make a large networking event really work for you and your business. So let's get started. And you can catch us Monday live at 9 o'clock on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and LinkedIn, and the replay on Instagram as well. Welcome back, Emily.
Thank you.
This is so much better having you to talk to throughout this whole thing, just like we always strategize, right?
Right.
So I just want to help everyone, and this goes for Big Breakfast. This also goes for any networking event, right? Any chamber event, anything. And you just recently went to a large networking event. I interrupted you in the middle of it.
Yeah.
What are some strategies that you use when you go to a big networking event like that?
Well, like the simplest one that I have is, which is old, goes back to when I was in outside sales, my right pocket is for like absolute need to follow up with opportunities of business cards. And the other one is just people that I happen to have met and, they go in a different box, but my left pocket is for that. Um, I think the other strategy that most people probably don't feel comfortable doing or don't know to do is being okay with asking the person that you're talking to that you don't really know if they happen to know somebody that you're looking to talk to that evening, right? So if you're looking for a specific industry or even a specific person, every person that you come in contact with, it's okay to say, "Hey, do you happen to know a commercial real estate agent, or do you happen to know, an accountant?" And they could absolutely be in the room, and they absolutely would know them. And in networking, it's completely normal to say, "Yeah, let me walk you right over and introduce you to them." So I think coming prepared and feeling okay with saying that is definitely a pro tip that can generate serious results. Because in a big room like that, you can waste a lot of time just chatting with people and
Yeah,
feeling at the end of the night that was a waste of time, or you didn't get anything out of it or something like that, unless it just happens to fall in your lap. I think being more strategic about your time spent networking can generate you some serious results if you plan it that way.
absolutely. So I'm even going to scale us back because you
Yeah.
went high level on that one.
Yeah.
First step is networking events are not for selling your product or service.
No. Yeah. No, absolutely
No
not.
one goes to one to buy anything. Now, they might happen to because they happen to be looking for your service specifically, but nobody is going with any intention to buy. So if it starts to feel like it's a sales process, nobody's going to want to talk to you because I'm not here to buy. I'm here to really start a relationship, which is where
Yeah.
you went, right? You want
I jumped
someone.
right into the whole
I
life
know.
networking. Sorry.
Right, because we've done this for so long. But if you think about it, most people are pitching your product to
Yeah, absolutely, for
you
sure.
know,
Yeah, I think we've all stood there and been like, I want to get out of this conversation because all you're doing is selling me and I'm not buying. And you're like looking around the room going, how do I get out of this?
yeah.
Because yes, that step number one, stop selling to the people you're talking to.
Well, and the other
Uh,
one I think is the other one that I love about, and I get myself just really mentally prepared for when I go to an event like this is dancing. I call it dancing in the moment from my coaching days of I don't know what's going to happen tonight. I might get a great relationship out of it. I might have somebody go, "Oh, I really am looking for your product or service." I might get nothing. I don't know what I'm going to get out of it. So have intentions about who I want to meet strategically, but kind of also be ready to just flow.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you can't be on all the time, I don't think. And sometimes we do go to networking events because we just need to relax or hang out or have, some social interaction with people and it's not about work. And that's completely okay. I think that was what I was up to last night. It was from my husband's work. But it was a fundraising opportunity for yes to youth for building a shelter for orphaned teens here in the Montgomery County area. So it was a really great opportunity to meet some pretty big people in the community. And so yeah, I was just flowing, just walking around the room. Um, Even I still to this day feel kind of iffy about just walking up to random tables and being like, "Hi, I'm Emily." That's not always. So I stuck to the key people that I knew and stuff like that. So even I have a hard time if I'm not. It was just there to be social and hang out.
My one of my best stories about networking was we had just launched a chapter in the Shoals area,
Mhm.
and I decided to go to a networking event, and I didn't bring friends with me. I didn't bring anybody that I knew. I decided like I'm just going to go, and somebody from BNI will be there. Didn't see a familiar face real quick, and I was like, "What am I going to do? What am I going to do?" I literally stood at the door, like acting like a host. We've been told like a host, but the Shoals is a small town. They were like, we have never seen this person before in our lives, and now she's standing at the door, like greeting everybody who's walking in. But I literally didn't know what else to do because it felt kind of weird walking up to random people. So it was yeah. So I 100% get the awkward feeling of oh my
Right.
gosh. And especially if I haven't been, out in the community and just even a little while, because sometimes people who go to those events change as well.
For sure. I mean, back when I was working out here in Houston in the field and visiting chapters and knowing, yeah, I could go anywhere and I knew everybody or knew lots of people. After COVID, my very first networking event, which wasn't a BNI event, and I acted like was my first day networking, just like stood up against the wall and was like, I don't know any of these people. I don't know what to do. And I also got stuck in a sales conversation, which I was like, I don't want to do this anymore tonight.
Yeah, why are we doing this? So strategically going in, knowing who you're looking for. So let's talk about like how does someone think about who they're trying to meet when they go to one of these events?
So I think that you kind of talked about it earlier is like it's about building relationships and we've already said it that it's not about sales. And so I my biggest tip about networking is always about finding referral partners, not pieces of business.
Yeah.
Right? I think that we get really stuck in the moment of, oh, I'm looking for a homeowner who needs a new roof or something like that. Like versus I'm looking for a really great PNC agent who is constantly going to be able to refer me, and those are the referrals that you want to be out there trying to find. Those are the referral partnerships that would make it more beneficial for you is to find those relationships. And so looking at your own book of business and understanding where does all of your business come from and just duplicating that over and over. Like if it's the referral sources, if it's an accountant, if it's a business lender, if it's, commercial real estate agent, and that's where you start asking, who do you know that does this so that you can like really really not duplicate, it's even really
Multiply
compound your
yourself,
efforts.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, start really multiplying yourself. I think this is one thing that I mean, I know I didn't do it immediately when I had my own business outside, like when I had my coaching business and I was just getting into the business world. I didn't sit down and think to myself, who is my target? Who are the people that I really like working with? Who else is going to work with those people? And thus, who are the people that I really need to know? And when you start asking yourself those kinds of questions, and then you make sure you are surrounded by all of those people, I mean, you really have a referral machine going. You can be 100% referral in no time.
For sure, absolutely. And you nailed it. I've consulted in the marketing world with like hundreds of people in all different industries, and part of my conversation was always asking them about where do you get your business from and how does that work for you? Very few times did anybody have an answer for me. In terms of it just takes time. It takes time out of your day. It takes time out of paying payroll. It takes time out of doing the job that you're actually out there doing to sit down and analyze your business and look at where your business comes from. And that's something that we try to teach in BNI is to look at that so that we can help you figure out who those referral partners are. But just in general, business people, I mean, professionals, owners don't do that enough to really understand how to grow exponentially. And that's the answer. And just, you got to look at your marketing tools. You got to look at what's working, what's not working, and how to, make those that are working duplicate and continue to do it.
Yeah, because I think people are get really good at understanding. Well, not even that, right? I was going to say get really good at understanding who their customer is, but I don't even think
Sure.
that's true. I think they get really good at listening for people who need their product or service and jumping in. But all of that is completely reactive. And
Right.
and we want to try and help people get really proactive. So proactive is, what if I could nail exactly where my next referral comes from, or my next customer comes from. And a big storm comes through, Alabama, we're in Tornado Alley. Big storm comes through, immediately we know, start promoting the roofer, start promoting, maybe even, cleanup, and waste removal and all that kind of stuff, because we just know that those things are very connected. So having the relationships and thinking through that strategy is really important. I don't think you're right. Not very few people can do that, or do sit down and do that.
Right. Right. And
But
if you take anything away from this video today, that's absolutely, think about it. Just take 5 minutes and think about who is also talking to the people that you want to be talking to. For some of us, that's homeowners. For some of us, that's decision makers in businesses, and surround yourself with other people who are talking to those same people.
yeah,
And they're in that position to be able
and
to help you.
it's short game versus long game, right? You got to be playing both of them. The short game is, where's my next sale going to come from? The longer one is, how do I build this machine of, and I think that's how you and I have been really successful within BNI, is the fact that we're playing the short game and the long game, at the same time, and trying to figure out how to get the momentum going. Because once you get your referral momentum going and you've got a few referral partners around you, I mean, it becomes as easy as, hey, what do you got? Or a text message that comes in that says, call this person next, right?
I was just gonna say, my dad used to get so mad. So he was in the same industry as I was. He worked for the same company, web.com. And so he was a sales manager, and I was on the sales team, not his, but a different one.
Yeah.
And I would be like hanging out at his house in the middle of the day, just stopping by to say hi because I was out in the field. And I would get a phone call from somebody from BNI, and they'd be like, "Hey, I've got somebody for you. I need you to talk to," or whatever. And I would get off the phone. He goes, "That's what you do? Like that's how you work? That's how you get accounts?" I'm like, "Yeah."
Yeah.
I mean, I was 2 years into my BNI membership, right? So I'd already laid the groundwork. But yeah, I'm like,
You have the
yes,
momentum.
people just pick up the phone and call me, and I go and I just close it. And he's like, "That's incredible." He was
Yeah.
just, because he comes from the old school, right? Cold calling, knocking on doors, pulling on doors kind of stuff. And he was just, and when he found LinkedIn, he thought it was, God's gift to salespeople. But I'm like, no, it's referrals. It's referral relationships.
And those people are all expecting your call and excited to take it, and probably already so far down the sales path because somebody they trusted told them that they could trust you too. And it's all,
Right,
yeah,
because I mean, the people who I had surrounded myself with were, commercial loan officers, business coaches, accountants, right? Those are some people who already have some serious trust with their clients. And so if your accountant tells you you need to talk to this marketing person, they're going to save you money and get you better results, it's a done deal, right? Like, that was my closing ratio with all of my referrals was like 85%.
yeah. Yeah. And that's after you've built this foundation of these people who you have relationships with. That's what ultimately happens. So
Yep.
when you go into a large networking event, think of it as figuring out who is in the room that could become your next referral partner. And then how do I start the relationship with them so that they can ultimately come into and be my referral partner as well.
I think the how to is it's got to be mutually beneficial. Right. So
Absolutely.
that's where it can't just be, "Hey, I want to meet you because I want to take from you." It's got to be, "How can I help you?" Or, "Who do you need to meet?" Or, who, sharing of your network, or however that looks for you. But it always come with a, what do you have to give to them as well.
That is a great ending point, and I think a jump off point for our next one as well. Next time, we're going to talk about how to start that relationship actually in that. And unfortunately, the only analogy we will be able to use is dating and building that relationship to choose something bigger and better. But that's what we'll talk about next time, so that you can keep going into a deeper dive as to why you want to go to networking events as well. So we will see you again next week.